Chris. Oh no, excuse me, Mr. Johnson, it seems I'm still stuck with the old habit from back then. You can call me whatever you want. Feel free to call me by whatever name you like. Alright, I understand. But you should stop speaking in such a formal way to me soon. By the way, it's about this afternoon's schedule. My name is Chris, and I'm 31 years old. I was in a taxi with my secretary Emily and we were reviewing today's schedule. I was a designer at a major graphics company. And since I'd taken on more responsibilities, I had to review my schedule even while commuting, making my days extremely busy. But I found my life fulfilling. By the way, you stayed at the office last night, didn't you? Yeah. I was swamped with work yesterday, and since there was an early meeting today, I ended up sleeping at my desk. Okay then, there's some time before the next meeting, I'll have the taxi take you home. I won't insist on taking a shower. But please at least change your suit. Some people attending today's meeting were also there yesterday. I sighed softly and slouched while Emily stretched to give the taxi driver instructions. Although I said my days were fulfilling. The increasing number of subordinates who admired me and the frequent interactions with top executives from various companies meant that I constantly had to be mindful of how I appeared, which was the only real burden in my current life. However, the attention I got from people then was different from the unpleasant stares I had used to get. As I was looking out the taxi window and thinking about this, I noticed it starting to rain. Emily muttered softly beside me, "Oh, it started raining after all." I took some painkillers out of my bag and gave it to her. "You have migraines, right? Here, take this." When I handed her the medicine, Emily looked surprised and then smiled gently. "Oh, you remembered, how nostalgic. I have known this sweet and tender woman since before we both worked at this company. That was back when I was a student who constantly worried about other people's stares. When I was in my first year of middle school, I had been weak since childhood and always carried various medications. These included stomachache medicine, painkillers, and even allergy relief medicine in case of a sudden allergic reaction. With such a frail body, my parents stopped me, so I only attended PE when I was in good condition, and basically observed in the shade. As a result, I had the palest skin among the boys my age. In middle school, my friends from elementary school became busy with club activities. Of course, I couldn't join both sports clubs and other non-sport clubs as well, so I did not belong to any extracurricular activities. I became an outcast from this time, and I was completely isolated from other students by the end of the first term. After school, I always went home sadly by myself, passing by where the students of the sports club were practicing. I couldn't count how many times I cursed my weak body. However, a turning point came in those lonely days. One day, after I had packed up to go home as usual and was walking past the track team practicing energetically. I can't even run a lap around the field, but the track team members are amazing, running laps around the school with such vigor. As I mumbled to myself and walked out the school gate, I noticed a girl sitting hunched over. She was probably a track team member. I thought she might be taking a break and was about to walk past her. As I was about to pass by, I heard her labored breathing. I instinctively approached her and asked, "Are you okay?" The girl looked up at me with a dazed expression and said, "My head hurts." I didn't know what to do, but I opened the extra bottle of water I was carrying to take my medicine and gave it to her. She slowly drank the water and eventually calmed down. After a while, she gently asked me, who had been sitting still next to her, "Thank you, we are in the same school, right? Are you 6th grader maybe?" I was startled to realize she was quite beautiful and nervously replied, "Yes." "Come on, you saved my life, why do you look so sorry?" The girl smiled teasingly at my embarrassed reaction. This girl would later become my secretary Emily. Emily was 2 years older than me, 8th grader at the same middle school, and the leader of the track team. That day, Emily wasn't feeling well and struggled during her run. "I always get headaches on rainy or cloudy days like this." "Isn't that a migraine?" "A migraine?" Emily seemed unfamiliar with migraines, so I briefly explained. "Wow, I didn't know that. I thought it was dehydration or something." "What? Dehydration is serious." "Really? I get it all the time before competitions." Emily was overly active, shone too brightly for me. I wanted to help her somehow and pulled out a small pouch from my bag. Please take this if you'd like, I have some headache medicine I use often. When I handed her the medicine, Emily looked surprised but then smiled warmly. Really? Thank you. Then here, take this little something in return. Then she pulled a candy bar out of her pocket and handed it to me. Oh, you don't have to do this. Besides, having a candy bar outside like this is. No worries, go ahead. She was taller than me at the time, and smiled and handed me the candy bar. I accepted her kindness with both hands and took a bite. Wow! This is good. Hey, you look like as if you've never had a candy bar before. At that moment, my heart raced at her playful smile. By the way, don't you participate in any clubs? You should join us. Well, I have a weak body. When I declined apologetically, Emily thought for a moment before suggesting, how about the library committee? We're short on members. And I can hardly attend due to my busy club schedule. I thought I might be able to handle the library committee and was about to smile and nod at Emily. I heard running footsteps and a loud voice. Emily! What are you doing slacking off? It was one of my classmates, Jason, with tan skin and a lean but muscular build. Jason smiled at Emily, but his gaze towards me was cold. I'm not slacking off, I'm recruiting. Hearing Emily's words, Jason frowned as he looked at me. Then, he started laughing mockingly. Oh, this guy? No way. He skips PE because he's weak. It's impossible. Jason looked down on me laughing, but to my frustration, I couldn't say anything back and couldn't look up. Suddenly, I heard a dull thud and Jason's pain shout, ouch. I quickly looked up to see that Emily had hit Jason on the head. You don't talk like that, do you? It's an order from the team leader. Apologize to him. Well, I'm sorry. Jason's eyes welled up with tears, and I quickly nodded. Emily giggled, overlooking us, and said, All right, Chris, see you soon. So Jason, let's go back. Cover for me in case that the coach gets mad at me. She then energetically ran off. Jason followed, holding his head. At that moment, I realized that the real cause of this heartbeat was my first love, watching Emily's running back. After that, I immediately applied to join the library committee. As Emily had said, the library committee was unpopular and there were empty positions, so I immediately began to work as a member. Even if it was only for a short time after school. Though Emily rarely attended the committee meetings, she napped and got scolded by the committee head whenever she attended. During my time on the committee, I developed a love for reading books on art and design. And it was then that I decided to become a graphic designer. A year later, Emily graduated from middle school, and my first love ended without me even getting her contact information. When I started my second year, my school life became much more miserable. Oh great, am I with Emily's stalker in this class too? That Jason was in most of the classes with me. Jason was always one of the popular students in every class and had several cronies. Almost all my classmates started giving me cold looks because of a single word from Jason. Hey, Emily was last year's leader of the track team, and she was quite pretty, right? Was Chris her stalker? Oh yeah, he became a member of the same library committee with Emily because she talked to him. Isn't that creepy? That's seriously messed up. Voices mocking me and disdainful glances came at me from all directions. No, Huh? What are you saying? Can't hear you with that tiny voice. Oh, but don't speak too loudly or you might get sick, right? Jason and his cronies laughed. I was so defeated by the pressure that I couldn't say anything back. From that on, the only place I found peace at school was the library after classes. I continued to study design alone, enduring Jason's mocking and the cold stares from others. However, there was a silver lining when the student poster I designed won the top prize in the middle school category. Even so, I didn't have friends to brag to when the award sat alone in the corner of my room. In my third year, I was no longer in the same class as Jason, but my bad reputation had spread throughout the grade. As a result, I had no peers to talk to, and the last page of my yearbook was blank. My lonely middle school life quietly came to an end. I remembered feeling a mix of frustration and envy when I saw Jason crying tears of joy at graduation, though he had caused my misery. Mr. Johnson. We've arrived. Oh, we're already here. Next thing I knew, the cab had arrived in front of my house.